Welcome to Terebinth Leadership. My name is David Baumblatt, and today we are going to be talking about leadership. Now, we're going to talk about the war. There are so much material that we could go over that's going to point in the same direction. This war, like all wars, it's going to be a complete failure. You give it time. Just like I predicted, the American empire is dropping. This war, we don't even have an objective. Again, we don't have enough time on this video, but even if we look at the objective, say, well, we're preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. There's many things. Okay, so what about the other countries like North Korea, whatever, China, Russia? What about their nuclear weapons? Second thing is, if you're going to deny a country, truly to deny it to have a nuclear weapon because of globalization and technology, which we promote in America, there's only two ways you're going to have to do it. One, we're going to have to literally obliterate the nation. I guess it would be called genocide, nuke them. The entire country would have to be destroyed, or it would have to be colonized. Because the point is no matter how much bombing you do and you go back, eventually they're going to build it. It is what it is. And I get the whole thing with Israel. They're close to Iran. They have an issue. Sometimes let the Israelis do it, not with the American taxpayer money, American taxpayers. A lot of information. Let's go step by step here just to show you that even in America, we are falling apart. And I want to do a quick example here. This is on X. And there's this woman named Victoria. She's just one of many examples. This is her. Let me just bring this up so we know who she is. Again, this is the typical MAGA. So this is Victoria, even whatever. Police lives matter. She's MAGA. Oh, we have another Christian person. She's all about Christianity, this and that. Look at her followers, all these people. So whatever. She's MAGA all the way. And what did I do? And again, I said, hello, Victoria. This is, can you support me, this and that. And then she said, it's just horseshit. She's like, if you'll have she goes, you'll have to inquire to the FBI. We'll get into the FBI in a second. Really? Are you that smart, Victoria? Then she says, I don't see how this message relates to veterans. What, my bad, let me bring it back. I don't see how this message relates to veterans. It's kind of who I am, Victoria. I'm a military veteran. And we could go on and on about this. Let me think. I think there was another thing that she said here. She's like, you'll have to, I don't see the message. I don't see how this relates to veterans, something like that. And I kept going on and on. Basically, what I want to do is, let me just bring this up. Think about this. And the point being is Victoria should not be blamed at all. She's not blamed. This whole thing is, again, everything that comes down to Iran, everything. What do I keep saying? White man. Her father is probably a cuck. And that we've allowed women to be in these positions of power where they're just purely ignorant. But again, we have to, as a military veteran, this is why the whistleblower system is done. This is why I talked about Edward Snowden. But for me to beg, borrow, and steal a MAGA person to say, can you please repost this? It's so pathetic. I still remember on Facebook, before I was suspended, he was a military veteran. I said, hey, can you repost this? I need help. Can you just repost this about government corruption? One word, done, did it. Look at her. She's the same person, Victoria, who is what I've said many times. A lot of the MAGA people have this fakeness. We know it. And again, we'll get into it. But think of all these MAGA people who view themselves as, to be a patriot, all you have to do is wave the American flag and say, I love Trump. Yeah, let's a draft come. I actually am hoping a draft come. I think it's going to be great. Not me, I'm gone. But all these MAGA people, you wait until there's a military draft. And all of a sudden, just like what I'm trying to do is I'm giving you microcosm. I've said before, in understanding leadership, if you can't understand the macrocosms, look at the microcosms. And this person, Victoria, she's not an anomaly. She represents a lot of these MAGA people, Christians. I back law enforcement. I back military. I mean, these are the MAGA people. I'm former law enforcement. That's FBI, former military. I'm pro-Christian. All I'm asking for is a repost and excuses and this and that. Same thing if there was a military draft. What would happen to the MAGA people? Sorry, my back is hurting, can't do it. You know, again, it's basically to be MAGA, just wave the American flag, and that means a patriot. So anyway, let's go to the next one here. And what you're seeing here, let me put my tab down. What you're seeing here is Joe Rogan now is talking about how a lot of the Trump supporters are not pleased with him. And I've said it. You're going to see MAGA split. I've predicted this. It's not going to work. MAGA will eventually split. Now, what I do want to point out, and I've said many times before, I've never said anything about the Democrats. I mean, if you don't like Donald Trump, and I get it, if like me, if you're starting to become less and less satisfied with Donald Trump, but then you're going to the Democrats, yeah, that's a ping pong game. It's not going to work. So I said many times, Donald Trump is the best I've seen, but I kept saying the best is yet to come. And who do I mean? I keep saying it's going to be nationalism. It's going to be like a state politics where we're going to, it's going to be a bit of a civil divorce where America will split. That's who's going to be the politicians. We're going to go into the last video with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I like her, but again, I'm not, if you're going to vote for another person that's going to bring this country together, which goes to the next video here. I think this is the good point. You hear all these people, they talk about unifying, right? We need to unify. We need to unify. Nope, don't need to unify anymore. Don't need to do that unification anymore. Hopefully you saw that right there. Talking about always about unifying. What we need right now, what we need right now is think about 1776. What did you? I bet it was back then too, where people were like, "Listen, let's not argue with the King of England and England. Let's come together. Let's unify." One of the best things our founding fathers were like, "Nah, we're not interested in unifying. We want independence. It's called freedom." So the point I keep saying is, if the next political leader, because Trump is not going to last, I give him credit for what he's done. He's moved the needle more than. Again, I still think he's the best president of my entire lifetime. But if you think the political leader is going to be, we're going to bring this country together, it won't. It's going to be a bloody civil war either way. It's time for independence and freedom. And the point being is we're too diversified in America, too diversified. Even with this war, we'll get into it. But these interests in wars, we all know it. This is not for the American interest. Let's go on to the last one for Twitter. Now we're talking about, oh yeah, this guy, this is talking about, let me make sure you could see this. Now we talk about Leah Rain. Thanks, Leah. Leah may or may not know about me. Thanks for not helping me out. But here she's like, putting on a uniform veteran. God bless him. He's ready to serve his country again. No, not really. Don't really need him to bomb any. This is what I said, bomb any people in Iran. What's interesting, I don't want to change the subject, but for anyone interested in stolen valor, not like I care anymore about stolen valor. You do what you want. I really could care less. Let me make sure this video up. But he looks like he's a captain rank officer. I guess he got out. Maybe he was prior enlisted. I could go into it. It looks a little like stolen valor to me. But even if it is, I really could care less. If you could tell our military is splitting apart, that we really don't care about it. So anyway, let's go with a couple of videos. And the first thing I'm going to do that relates to it, let's go to the FBI director. And you wonder, when I left the FBI in 2007, why I didn't say go public about the corruption in the FBI. No one's going to believe me. No one. So remember, Donald Trump, before he was the president, the FBI was corrupt. Now he's the president. I guess it's been fixed. And here's the fearless director that we have.
To wake up and prioritize Israel, and bring home Israelis, and make sure we stand by.
Okay, can we hear what the FBI director is saying again?
We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel.
So did you hear that? The FBI director is telling you, you need to wake up and you need to prioritize Israel. He doesn't have a priority. I mean, well, I was about to say those racial slurs that I like to say in times of time, but this guy never served in the military, never served in the FBI, and he should have never become an American citizen. He's an Indian. His home is India. He should be very proud he's Indian. He's a racist. He doesn't want to go back to India because he, not me, looks at Indian people as sand niggers. I know it sounds strange, but he looks himself as a white American. He's not. He's a sand nigger. He said it, not me. But he is now our FBI director, and he wants you to prioritize Israel. I don't know, maybe we prioritize military veterans, American citizens, stuff like that. This is coming out. Remember, Trump, before the FBI was corrupt, now Trump is the president. I guess he fixed the FBI. Don't worry, we're going to get to Danny Bongino. But a point, does this relate to the war in Iran? Of course it is. This is our government.
Bring home Israelis and make sure we stand by our #1 ally in Israel.
That's just great. All right, let's keep going on this. 1 second. I know it's kind of interesting. I know, but let's just go on this vein right here. 1 second.
Drugged, had sex organs and.
Okay, so now let me just push this here quick. We're doing this one video, we're going to get to the war. But again, it's so interesting considering our FBI directors. We had Danny Bongino as the deputy director. And I told people, Danny Bongino is a fake, sir. He's not a patriot. And people were like, no, you're wrong. He is. I'm telling you, he works for the establishment. He is part of the deep state now. And when you're the deputy director for the FBI, it's pretty difficult, especially him being a multimillionaire. You add in the dots, it's very difficult for him not to be. But remember when he went into the FBI, I was going to fix it with the Epstein files. The point is integrity 101. If we cannot trust our government on the home front, you think we're going to trust them on the foreign front? But this is about the Epstein files. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Epstein files, that is a treasure chest of just nuggets of gold, of corruption, conspiracies, foreign influence, you name it, upon our global elites. And we sent Danny Bongino, the same guy who blocked me and unblocked me on Twitter before. He was the deputy director. He was going to fix it. Let's see now.
Fox News alert, investigators are swarming Jeffrey Epstein's notorious New Mexico ranch after an email in the Epstein files claims 2 foreign girls were strangled to death during rough fetish sex. And Epstein ordered the bodies to be buried on the ranch. Like a lot of things in the Epstein files, that report is unconfirmed, but authorities are...
I give it to at least Fox News it's bad when even Fox News is starting to realize this doesn't seem to be like it should be a closed case. Again, this was Danny Bongino and FBI Kash Patel here, and they want us to get behind this war in Israel. Probably let's fix our home front first.
Now searching the property, thousands of acres. The ranch has been a dark mystery for years, and people are finally talking. A New Mexico state rep told the Daily Mail this, quote, "We have people coming forward saying they were drugged, had sex organs and sperm harvested from their bodies, and woke up around medical equipment, not knowing where they were or what happened to them." We're also learning more about what happened on the night Epstein died.
You know, what they're about to say is pretty interesting, but I say again, why isn't this a priority for Trump, meaning Director Kash Patel, to say, listen, let's figure this out? Are you telling me there's not a cover-up? You're crazy. But we had Danny Bongino and Kash Patel in there saying the FBI is corrupt, but they're going to fix it. Are you kidding me? It's retarded.
The guards who were fired after admitting to falsifying records were supposed to be checking Epstein's cell every 30 minutes. Prosecutors said instead they were taking naps and online shopping. But newly released DOJ documents show one of the guards, Tova Noel, Googled latest on Epstein in jail about 40 minutes before he was found dead. In a sworn statement to the FBI, she denied Googling Epstein. Another file shows Chase Bank flat.
Don't you feel it's funny that this is on Fox? Where's the investigation? Where's the FBI investigation on this? Does this not rate? So the point, what I'm trying to say is this: if we cannot trust our government with these domestic affairs, which are very important, this is more than domestic. We're going to believe them about Iran. The government's falling. I'm telling you that we have lost our faith, family, freedom. It's going to get worse.
Flagged cash deposits in Noel's account to the FBI in a suspicious activity report. $5,000 was deposited in her account 10 days before Epstein died. Noel apparently wasn't asked about the cash during her interview with the Department of Justice. The DOJ's got a lot of documents on Noel. We also found out she leased a Range Rover. The falsifying records charges against Noel were dropped as part of a plea agreement. We reached out to her for comment, haven't heard back yet. None of this means she's responsible for Epstein's death in any way. We just want to know what happened that night. And
well, I think the key is why isn't the FBI investigating about this? This is a cover-up.
years later, we still don't have the full story. Kentucky Congressman James Comer joins us now. Congressman, this jailhouse guard, what's going on with her?
So again, we'll get to the war, but you're telling me, again, Trump, I see a golden tulip, afternoon to you. So the point being is you're telling me now that Donald Trump, the FBI was corrupt. Now the FBI is fixed. Are you kidding me? And again, these are the ones that are protecting us and providing us in terms of this sense of FBI fidelity, bravery, integrity. Not good, folks. Let's start getting into the war. And what I want to do is focus. Remember, I kept saying about the FBI in terms of they are the keepers of the jewels, meaning what's more important is the domestic intelligence and foreign. I'll do a video on it. But the point being is we're losing our country, and we've seen this. Because I left America 15 years ago, it's easy to see America is that quintessential frog in the boiling water. That most people in America don't realize how much America has changed because you're living in America. And by the time you notice the change, it's probably going to be too late. But this is what history is. It's always about revolutions and wars and change. It happens all the time, or every 50, 100 years, these big changes. We know that. But watch these videos. This is not normal. Do you think this happens in China? I mean, in China, it's all China first. It's as China first as the sun is to the day. I mean, it's obvious. You're telling me, and Trump was elected on America first. You're telling me this is America first? Let's go to this thing here.
To all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not.
The volume is a little low. You might have to turn this up. Let me bring it down and see it. But this is our famous clown boy, Lindsey Graham.
All the anti-Semites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our.
Do you see? This is a senator who's not just a senator, but a senator with influence. He's with Israel. He's not with you to the day This is not normal, people. This is just not. I mean, compared to China, and it is so abnormal. And this is America First by Trump. And this person has Trump's ear. This is not a radical Democrat or even a radical Republican. This person, you could easily say, is within the Trump circle. Let's just hear this quick. It's a quick video.
All the anti-Semites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.
Okay, so this is Lindsey Graham. Great to go. Let's do another video here. This thing is starting to spiral. You're starting to see the picture.
And Iran have 31% of the world's oil reserves. We're going to have a partnership with 31% of the known reserves.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to have a partnership. Really, so again, our policy now is might makes right. We're just going to bomb countries into our partnership. You don't think there's going to be any blowback, or even other countries? Yeah, that's a partnership, all right.
This is China's nightmare. Yeah.
This is actually also playing into China. I'm going to tell you how this is working to China. I never predicted this either, because what we elected Trump on, he's making a pivot. We all know that.
This is a good investment, and we should applaud our men and women in the military who are doing something I've never seen done before.
Okay, interesting. So how's this working out to China's favor? Well, the more America, remember, we even did this to our own allies. I don't know what Trump was thinking with Greenland. He was making threats to Greenland. You might say, hey, it's no big deal. What if the opposite? What if Canada said that about Alaska? You don't say that. You don't say stuff like that. So Venezuela, what was our partnership? Bombing them, kidnapping the president. What do we do in Iran? Bombing them. Really? Do you think our soft power is increasing? People now are looking at China and Russia differently, as maybe they're not as so aggressive. And again, I'm a strong believer in a strong military, but Trump really changed the department's name from Department of Defense. We are now the Department of War. And I predicted that, and that is, who do you think is going to start? I mean, think about it. Who do you think, if there's going to be nuclear weapons, who's going to use them? Well, who's the last country that used, who's the only country in history that used atomic weapons, at least during war, not training? It's America, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You don't think that if there's going to be another deployment of nuclear weapons, who am I put? It's going to be America. I have no doubt. If I had to put, think about who's going to start, same thing with China. We'll do other videos on China. Who's going to, if a war goes with China or even Russia, who would probably instigate it? Probably America. I mean, we'll be on the offense, they'll be on the defense. So in terms of what we're doing in Iran and Venezuela, it's actually not helping us out on the world stage. The same thing with the US dollar, where we sanctions it. We've weaponized the dollar. People now are more nervous about it. We're weaponizing our military. So But we'll see where this goes. But I don't think this is going to help us out at all. Let's go to this one here. So I mentioned this before. I mentioned this before. Tucker Carlson has changed. I believe he's changed because he's become more educated. That's a guess. I don't know him that much. I've changed by living in China. Oh my God, I've become more educated. I've seen stuff, and I keep saying it. If you're a white person who's never lived as a racial minority, we're talking less than 1%, you have no clue what that world is like. I never did. Again, I grew up in America, mostly with whites. I lived in Europe, in Germany, mostly white. I've never really lived as a racial minority. It changed me. So back to Tucker Carlson. He's changed. He's changed more toward he was always Fox News. I get it. But even, I've told you before, when I watched him on Fox News years ago, he was still, I guess you'd call him a Republican in name only. He was kind of a cuck. He's getting more to the right. Why? People think he's been paid off. I don't know. People look at me getting paid off. Have you seen my social media yet? No, it's not. I'm not making any money on this. No one's supporting me. No one's sponsoring me. So I don't think anyone's supporting Tucker Carlson because considering the amount of money he has, I don't think he's really susceptible to being bribed. And I believe that generally, but I also believe, like me, as you become older, you become less, I guess the word I'm looking for is, what's the vocabulary I'm working for? You become more coarse. You say what it is. The same thing like America. As America becomes more and more devalued and toward collapse, just like Donald Trump, we are going to become less and less politically correct. So I think Tucker Carlson, he's gotten older, he's got kids, he doesn't care anymore. He wants to say what he thinks the truth. I mean, he's been educated. But look at the backlash on Tucker Carlson. It's pretty interesting. And everyone knows, I think Ted Cruz is a piece of shit. This guy sucks.
I believe Tucker Carlson is the single most dangerous demagogue in this country.
Did you just listen to what he said? He believes Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue. Remember, you're talking to a guy who's former West Point graduate and former FBI agent. Then I served on the War of Terror, the War on Terror. Remember all that bullshit we learned on the War on Terror, the Taliban, ISIS, like this rhetoric. So now he talks. Let's let him repeat what he just said. This is a senator here who's got very high clout in the White House, meaning this is not a normal senator. He's obviously MAGA. This is a very influential senator. Look what he says. It's very shocking.
I believe Tucker Carlson is the single most dangerous demagogue in this country.
Really? So I guess after the War on Terror, I guess it's Tucker Carlson's time. We don't need any Islamophobes or Islamic terrorist groups or what. It's Tucker Carlson. Interesting. Similar how the FBI has targeted me. I'm on the FBI terrorist watch list. And you might say, David, if you're on the FBI terrorist watch list, you must have been doing criminal activity. Really? What is it then? What is it? What's the criminal activity? Why is the FBI hiding? But you see what I'm saying here where they just throw out these names? Really? Tucker Carlson? This is now the biggest threat to America? A guy named Tucker Carlson. Interesting. There's clapping.
And I'll tell you, I've made the decision that I'm going to take him on head.
What a piece of shit. Hey, Ted Cruz, worry less about Tucker Carlson. Worry more about military veterans. Worry less about Israel. Worry more about military veterans. Worry less about Iran. And worry, because if we're going to get into war, you're going to need military guys anyway, unless we're all going to, be drones now and just be terminated. I'm going to do a video on that. I think that's the future where they're not going to need soldiers anymore. They're probably going to replace us with robots. That's going to be dangerous. But here's Ted Cruz. And again, he's a senator. He's on your taxpayer dime. And his biggest mission in the world is to take down Tucker Carlson. Whoa, that's what we really need. That's what middle-class Americans, that's what they want their tax money to be spent on, you piece of shit, Ted Cruz. What an absolute loser this guy is.
Directly. If you look at the dissent of Tucker Carlson, and they're all the sort of lesser chattering voices that are moons circling his twisted planet. But if you look at the dissent, it started about a year and a half ago with platforming crackpot professors seeking to rewrite history, about World War II.
Oh, geez. So I get it. No matter where we go in this world, World War II is back. I mean, I keep telling to the Jews, you are going to make Adolf Hitler immortal. You are going to make Adolf Hitler immortal. We are going to be 1,000 years into the future, if we're still alive, nuclear war. And some guy is going to do a Nazi salute, and you're going to say, oh my God, you can't do that. That's Adolf Hitler. Adolf who? Yeah, Adolf Hitler. You can't do it. Everyone else will be forgotten about by then. Joseph Stalin, don't know him. Eisenhower, don't know about him. But this guy, Adolf Hitler, because of this hatred, this anxiety, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis are going to continue to become immortal. No matter where this topic comes, it's back to Adolf Hitler. Well, even in China, they know it. The most significant person is Adolf Hitler. I mean, you would think as Americans, maybe Eisenhower. I mean, you know, he's the general who won it and then the president. I mean, I think we all know Adolf Hitler takes the cake for World War II. So it is what it is, keeps going. Ted's a closet. Yeah, I see golden tulip. What an absolute, like I said, if he was a civilian, it'd be something different. This guy's salary is on American taxpayer dime. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. What an absolute. Oh, and this was one of the 4 senators I reached out to. When I reached out, I really thought, I don't know, to Senator Cruz, he's a MAGA sort of guy. He'll help. What an absolute piece of shit this guy is. Never served in the military, too. But he's big on sending your son into the military so you could die for Israel. What an absolute loser this guy is.
So he has one idiot whom he describes as the most consequential popular historian in the country, who leans forward and intones that Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II. He then finds another crackpot professor who says there's a good argument.
You know, how many Americans are like, dude, I mean, we're at war now in Iran, right? We're literally at war now in Iran. And Ted Cruz is more interested in, let's talk about World War II, right? And what is my stance on World War II? I've said it day in, day out, and I'll do more videos about it to understand it. We don't know the truth. I'm not saying anything to the left. I'm not saying anything to the right. You probably could guess what I'm thinking, but I still don't know. And that goes with the Holocaust. That goes with Adolf Hitler. That goes with the Nazis. That goes with, again, even when talking to my friends from Poland, they feel like they got totally screwed over by America. It is what it is. We don't know the truth. I've never seen a topic that is so taboo than the Hitler, that I see it all the time. Even when I go to synagogue, that is a topic I do not bring up. You don't bring that topic up. And this is what so you obviously know with my Jewish friends, I don't bring this topic up. It is just absolutely insane. And they utilize this politically. The difference is, if you're a regular Jew, it is what it is. Ted Cruz is a senator. He makes his money off American taxpayer dollar. We are at war right now with Iran. I want to know why. And this guy's like, no, my number one priority is to talk about World War II and how the enemy is Tucker Carlson. Get this piece of shit fired. Oh my God. But you got to look at Donald Trump. He's one of Donald Trump's inner circle. Interesting story on this.
That America should have sided with the Nazis in Germany in World War II. And for all of this, Tucker gazes adoringly. By the way, no, there is not. Winston Churchill was an extraordinary historical figure. There's a reason Churchill's bust is on my mantle. If you come to my office, on the mantle, there are 3 busts, one of Churchill, one of Reagan, and one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 3 extraordinary leaders.
Does this guy not seem like an... So you're telling me this is MAGA. Remember, we're like, man, no more of these rhinos, no more of these cucks. We got Donald Trump, man. We got tough... Does this guy not sound like a cuck? I'm not into Martin Luther King Jr. either. Probably nice guy. Don't know him so much. I know from the FBI director, Hoover wasn't big into him. Not him. Winston Churchill, like I said, I've got my own personal opinions, but I don't think we know the truth about that at all. And look at Europe now. Go to Europe now. Go to the Brits now. Are they happy? that they fought and they defeated the evil Nazis, where whites now are minority. So I could go on and on, but I want you to see here, we have a active senator, U.S. senator, who's taking your taxpayer money, number one. We have a war going on right now in Iran, and yet he says, I think World War II is a good topic. We need to talk about it. And I think this guy, Tucker, I thought the Iranians were our enemy. No, I thought it was the Taliban. No, I thought it was China. No, I thought it was, oh, no, whatever. It's Tucker Carlson. It's amazing how these people are in power.
Who had vision. But it's not just there, it then descends. Look, Nick Fuentes. It's actually interesting.
Now, I don't know Nick Fuentes much, but I could tell you the amount. I'm a person who's experienced censorship as a military veteran. It is I would never fight for this country anymore. In fact, if China or Russia said, hey, David, we're going to fucking nuke Washington, D.C., what do you think? Press the fucking button. As horrific as it is, if you're a patriot, it could be your ticket to freedom when Washington, D.C. gets fucking nuked. But when you censor a military veteran, I cannot tell you what a betrayal that is. Now, Nick Fuentes is a U.S. citizen. He's not a military veteran, but he's a U.S. citizen. But the amount of censorship that I heard that he's gone, it's ridiculous. I'm absolutely fucking appalled by that. Now, if Nick was a foreign national in America, I don't know how I would be. We have to look at it because, again, the American government, the Constitution is meant to serve U.S. citizens, particularly military veterans. But anyway, the amount of censorship that Nick has done, and as I've experienced it myself as a military veteran, betrayal. I mean, it's absolutely fucking betrayal. I don't think Americans can understand that, or do I even think like these dumb MAGA people really understand when I say, hey, can I get your help? Can you press repost, Victoria? Can you press it? Victoria has a cuck father. That's her problem. Let's go back to this faggot Cruz.
Interesting, if you look at Republican politicians, Nick Fuentes is easy to denounce. And I actually think it's a tell among a Republican politician if they'll denounce Fuentes but are scared to say Tucker's name. That tells you a great deal. Nick Fuentes is a goose-stepping Nazi.
Oh, here we go. What did I keep saying? No matter what we do, we're back to the Nazis. We're literally at war right now. We've bombed the shit out of her in some capacity, Venezuela, kidnapped the president. We're going to take it over. We threatened our neighbors in Greenland to take that over. And we're now, we could quite possibly, I'm telling you, start World War III. I mean, I think World War III is coming anyway. We know that. And here we have this piece of shit, Ted Cruz, talking about who's a Nazi. Are you kidding me? I thought we got rid of these people. I thought this was about MAGA. Stop being a cock. In terms of Nick Fuentes, let the kid speak. If you don't like it, don't listen. Meaning the truth will resonate. The truth will resonate. But this guy, this Ted Cruz, what an absolute piece of garbage.
And by the way, I'm not one who throws around the term Nazi loosely. But when Nick Fuentes says,
I don't think you could even define, after living in China, if you ask me who is a Nazi now, this is not a negative term. It's the Chinese. When I think of who is the modern day Nazis, these would be National Socialists. That's China. China is no longer communism. This is under Deng Xiaoping, they call China now, in fact, Xi Jinping calls it. They say China, because they don't want it, they're smart. They also understand that the word National Socialist is tied to Adolf Hitler. So they're very sensitive to use that term because they know America will pick up on it. Because think about it, Americans, we actually think communism is better than fascism. You know, fascism, nationalism, National Socialism, Adolf Hitler, it's worse than communism. It shouldn't be, but that's in our brains. So anyway, meaning if China would just say, yeah, we're communists, it probably would go off better, but they're not anymore. So they say what they are is they are socialists with Chinese characteristics. That means nationalism. They're National Socialists. It's so common to see it. Is that negative? I don't see negative. It is what it is. But who's on the bandwagon of Nazi, Nazi, Nazi? it's not the non-Western world, because the non-Western world has a very different opinion of Adolf Hitler. Very different opinion. The people that look at Adolf Hitler as demons, that's in the Western world. So if you're going to be in the West and you're going to say Nazi, 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 China, it's China. And if you're going to buy your stuff, your cheap stuff from China, you're going to do deals with China. Remember, I work for Boeing and Amazon in China. Well, then our American citizens are buying products. Our American corporations are working with who? National Socialists. They're working with Nazis. We don't care. Because in our brain, we think just Nazis is the white supremacists. No, that's not the fact. But again, if you ask me, who is today's modern National Socialist Nazis? Not negative. It's China, 100%.
Hitler was very, very cool. I like Hitler, and I agree with Hitler.
Oh, God, talking about it. My opinion of Hitler is very simple. We don't know the facts. You know, what, Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz is notice, I didn't watch these whole videos. Sometimes I put videos up here, and I think we're going to talk a little bit because I want to talk about the Iran war. I didn't know he was going to go on about Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. I wasn't expecting that. But notice this, we constantly go on and on and on. And what do I think about Adolf Hitler? I don't know the truth about Adolf Hitler. I don't know. I've read some stuff. I've heard some stuff in China. I can say it's pretty interesting, goes against with what we're learning. But what, are you an expert? Where did you learn it from? Fox News, CNN, Hollywood? Who's an expert on Adolf Hitler? And if you are an expert, are you worried about saying the truth? I think you should be. But look at this. I'm here. I was going to talk about the Iran war. We are just fascinated in America with Adolf Hitler. Fascinated. Here we go. Ted Cruz on your taxpayer dime. This guy, it's almost like he's a homosexual. Like he wants to have sex with Adolf Hitler. He's just absolutely just in adoration of Adolf Hitler that he can't stop talking about him.
Like when you say you agree with Hitler, you are a Nazi.
Okay.
Tucker has Fuentes on his show. Doesn't.
So I thought Tucker did buy the right thing to get Nick Fuentes on the show. Put him on. Like I said, let the truth out. If it vibrates, it goes.
Question him about any of the ridiculous things he said. Doesn't react at all when Fuentes tells him his mission is to combat global Jewry. And Tucker nods. Interesting. Fuentes tells him every year he celebrates Stalin's birthday.
So what I want to do is remember I keep saying about one of the things my strength or my advantage is because I've left America and I see America through a lens that when I listen to the Chinese talk, I see they see it. You ever notice that when you're not quite sure if other people get it? Or like, I don't know, you lost weight, you gained weight, and someone says, hey, you're fat, you're thin. You're like, wow, you see it. I see it. You see it from the regular Chinese. They'll look at me like, why is America occupied by Israel? Why is America an Israeli colony? And I look at them, I said, do you see that? They said, yeah, we see it. They say, you take orders from Israel. I thought, wow. I said, I didn't know it was that up front. They said, oh, yeah, it's obvious. But it just, we have this, it is so unhealthy that I think most Americans are. World War II is over. We should study the history, though. We should study the truth. It's part of leadership. But we are constantly enamored with World War II. Like I said, I didn't even see this whole video. I thought he was just going to say a quick thing in the beginning, and then we're going to move back to Iran. This person, Senator Ted Cruz, your taxpayer money, he is just absolutely, his mission in life is to serve the Jews. There's nothing wrong with that. Not on American taxpayer dime. Not an American taxpayer. Do it on your own money, Teddy.
By the way, what kind of freak even knows Stalin's birthday? I don't know it, and I don't care to know it. But Tucker just coos when he says that.
Notice that the minor clapping in there. It's just really pathetic. So what we're going to do is
went back at Piers Morgan, calling.
So here what we're going to do is, I keep saying MAGA's going to split. MAGA will split. And I said this before. I believe Trump is the most nationalist president I've ever seen. He's technically not a nationalist. The same reason that he, and rightfully so, Trump convinced a lot of the Republican people of these Republican in name onlys, that they're whatever. And we moved. And Donald Trump did a great job. He moved the political needle more toward the right. Remember, what you call far right now, you go 200 years ago, every single country on earth, it's normal. It's normal. So this whole thing far right. Anyway, MAGA's going to split because there's a lot of MAGA people who think they're nationalists. They're not. It's going to happen. Give it time. Here we go.
Him the same. And so the war in Iran has caused a pretty obvious fracture in the Republican Party, we've all noticed, one that's been highlighted quite a bit in the media. Piers Morgan has called Ben Shapiro a propagandist as a fierce supporter of Israel and the bombing of Iran. Megyn Kelly also attacked Shapiro when Shapiro went back at Piers Morgan, calling him the same cancel culture vulture spitting, sneering intolerance that Kamala Harris is. And then you have Tucker Carlson, who's gotten really dark on this war. He absolutely despises the bombing of Iran and insinuated that Trump's demands for an unconditional surrender from Iran, which is the world's #1 sponsor of terrorism, by the way, would mean.
So if you see this, this is supposedly, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is Newsmax. And Newsmax was supposed to be more to the right than Fox. But I really think at the end of the day, if you're in any type of, it's the same thing with Donald Trump. Anytime you get into the hundreds of millions of dollars or the billions, whether you're an individually rich individual or you're part of these corporations, it's almost impossible for you not to be connected in some way, shape, or form with the global elites. I'm going to give you an example in China. If you are rich in China, you are connected with the government, in Chinese government. Meaning the Chinese, unless you appease the Chinese government, you're not getting rich. Because once you start making that amount of money, the Chinese government is going to look at you. So again, you're a Chinese businessman, you're expanding. The Chinese government, and you must abide by the Chinese government. It is what it is, their system. What do I think it is in the West? In the same point of view, once you become extremely rich, we're going to say in the hundreds of millions of dollars or definitely the billions of dollars, corporation, you have to toe the line with our globalist elites. And who are they? I think it's a combination. Some people say it's the Jewry, Israel, corporations, banks. There is this global homage that if you get that amount of money, it is sort of like monopoly. You're going to have to get permission to pass go. Otherwise, they're not going to allow you to make that much money. So my point to Newsmax, it's all these same multinational globalist organizations, news organ. They're all similar to these corporations. So anyway, this person has a slant again against, you could say, people like me that are breaking away from MAGA. And I think I broke away from MAGA probably, it could be 6 months ago or something like that. I was already like, this thing's going down. But Tucker Carlson, and the question is why? Well, Newsmax is one of these globalist corporations, and they have to toe the line.
The rape of Iranian women by American troops.
Unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter if they want. It requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessary. I don't think Americans would voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require, presumably.
Yeah, so again, what Tucker's saying is, one, all these people that support Iran, you wait till a draft comes, they're not going to do it. And two, you give it time. Who's going to drop? Mark this in writing. And again, I'm just repeating history with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Who's going to be the first nation that's going to drop the nuclear bomb? Or again, it's going to be America. Will be America. That's the only way you're going to solve the problem in Iran, if you want to totally monopolize that country and control it to the point they're never going to be able to get a bomb. It's the only way to do it. I think we will. I think we'll do it. And I think it'll be under the orders of also Israel, that the only way, surefire way, that we're going to stop Iran from having it is, one, we're going to have to make it either a total colony, which I don't think we can. It's 100 million people. I think Iran is the size of Texas, which is pretty big. I think it's got about 100 million people. I don't think, as much as we like to do regime change, we're truly going to be able to set up, it's going to fail, a sense of an American colony. Whatever puppet government we're going to put in there, they're probably going to get assassinated. So I think one step is going to be then, fuck it, we're just going to nuke them. And I really think, again, America will be the country that's going to nuke. And sometimes, I guess it is what it is. This is human beings. We're going to probably go to World War III anyway.
Nuclear weapons.
All right, Dave Rubin is the host of the Rubin Report. He joins us now. Good to see you, Dave. I think it's pretty easy to see why we have a fracture here. I think what we're doing is the right thing to do, but I also acknowledge that.
So, I don't need neither of these guys, I think, have served in the military. I'll go fast between these two, but I'm trying to tell you is the MAGA will split. It's going to split. It's not going to work. But let's just skip through this a little bit.
Grills them relentlessly. I think this is a guy who went to Saudi Arabia, a place where churches are illegal, and said that he was happy and safe in the seat of Islam. Those were his words. Also said he was buying a house in Qatar. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Tucker. Meghan's dissent has been kind of disappointing, but I think she's purely doing it for clicks. I think she just saw a lot of energy around Nick Fuentes and Tucker, and I think she's just decided.
Yeah, she's probably Meghan. Hey, don't fool yourself. I could care less if Megyn Kelly goes to the right. She's a typical prostitute, meaning she wasn't even part of the fan club of Donald Trump when he first ran. This is going to descend. The great thing when a civil war and collapse happens, you are going to start finding more of the truth. Where does the truth lie? And where are your parties? Because it's going to split. America's going to split. Oh, my bad.
Called Ben Shapiro.
He has said for at least a decade, you can go back 40 years, him talking about the Iranian hostages, that we have been at war with these guys for about 40 years.
More.
I'm trying to figure out where he is, because he obviously has a penchant to some extent for some of these Gulf Arab countries, like you said, but those guys are also, against Iran in this moment. And it's just a matter of,
American bases in the area were destroyed, and we're using Indian bases. It's completely made up nonsense. He won't address that. So I think this is one of the problems. We have for whatever.
Okay, what I want to do is we're going to go back on Newsmax and just go again. This is about the war, and that is, where are you getting your information from? This is where I would say Tucker Carlson does appeal to me a little bit. Why? He's got a lot of money. He probably can't be bribed. He's older. He's got kids. He might just say what it is. But you would be surprised with these globalist corporations, news shows like Newsmax. These people are so biased and paid off. Not a very good news source. And now we get the Navy SEALs. I'm going to combine two Navy SEAL stories together, because remember my last video of the Marine guy that got his arm broken? Not saying I'm a big fan of the Marine guy. He's got a Palestinian wife and this and that. I get that. But how that Marine was treated to speak out, even though what he was doing was, I guess it would have been illegal, something like that. Same thing with the January 6 people. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been fined. But for him to be dragged out, his arm broken, and not one of the military members turn their back to see him, it's horrible. But that Navy SEAL, Tim Shealy, is a piece of shit. I'm gonna tell you out my views of the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are probably one of the biggest bullshit artists in the military. What do I mean by that? Now, our military, we're going to go to these videos, but I'm going to caveat it because there's going to be two Navy SEAls on this. Our military has turned into a corporation. It's a market. In fact, in one of my other firms that I was working with in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Navy was trying to get a project to do more advertising for the Navy SEALs. It's one of their biggest. The Navy SEAls is a major marketing campaign to get people to join the Navy. Because even if they get them into the Navy SEAL pipeline, most of them don't make it. But then they have to stay in the Navy. Like, it's a great marketing tool. And I make that known. It's a good marketing tool. Why? Because our U.S. government has turned into corporations. So the Navy SEAls, we're doing it quick because I want to get to this. But again, I'm not a big fan of these Navy SEAls. Everyone, these guys are heroes. These guys do everything. A lot of shitbags. Hey, look at the U.S. Army Rangers with Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman fucking had probably more courage and honor than half of the Army Rangers. Well, what they did to him was... talk about a slap in the face, understatement. Anyway, Navy SEALs. Our military needs underwater demolition teams. The Navy SEAls are the sons of the UDTs. Think about it like frogmen. Get it? That's why we have an Army, Navy, Air Force. Air, sea, land. That's what we do. So we need people like the frogmen. We need people to operate underwater demolitions and that. But now the Navy SEAls expanded that mission just like a corporation because they want bigger. these generals that want bigger budget. Now you got Navy SEALs in the mountains, on land. Like, hey man, I'm a Navy SEAL. I could operate in the sea. And no, it's not how it is. Then I guess the Army. Okay, now the Army, we're going to make submarines because the Army, we want to get into the submarine business. It's overrated. It was a marketing bullshit thing. And it was a push by the admirals in the Navy and the Naval Academy to expand the force and get more promotions and more budget. That was it. So I don't have a problem with the Navy SEALs in terms of their frogman status in the water. But this stuff on land, bullshit. There's some of the biggest bullshit artists. But we're going to go through two of these Navy SEAL stories. And the first one that I always find funny is
that's obviously what everybody wants.
We get these guys that are like, man, this guy's Jack Carr. Now, Jack knows about me. Oh, he knows about me. When I first went on X, I was like, hey, man, I'm a military veteran. You're a military veteran. I need your help. Can you press repost government corruption? Jack didn't do it. These guys are pussies. I really mean it. And I'll do more videos about them. But Jack is going to talk on this thing because they want to get an expert Navy SEAL. You wait till you'll hear. He's talking out of his asshole. And when you see what he's talking about, I'm going to go to the next Navy SEAL video, and it just shows why are we even talking with these people?
We want to bring in now Jack Carr, a former Navy SEAL who spent 20 years in special warfare, most of that in the Middle East. He's an expert on this stuff. He's also the author of a book called The Fourth.
Oh, I'm sure he's an expert on this. See, people don't want to get other expert opinions like me because all these wars, you need to get an expert opinion to say two things. One, why this is a good idea, because that's what the United States government. So you got to get someone who says, this is a good idea why we're in Iraq. This is a good idea why we're in Afghanistan. And I'm sure Jack is going to say, this is a good idea why we're in Iran. And then there's always the solutions. And the solutions go into why taxpayer money needs to continue to push the budget for the military industrial complex because people need to make money on this. Let's see what Jack, the Navy SEAL, has to say.
Option. And Jack, thank you for coming on. Let's start where we just left off with KT. They want to obviously declare victory. They want to make this a quick thing because that's obviously what everybody wants. But
this is not going to be a quick victory. We don't even know what the objective is. Really, to take away the Iranians, their nuclear capabilities. Okay. And then in 10 years later, what do? Literally, how are we going to solve this? There's only two ways. We're going to have to completely colonize the country, or we're going to have to nuke them, kill them. Because the weapons are going to come back. And what do you think is going to happen with North Korea, China, and Russia? You don't think that's going to push them to say, holy moly, we have to protect Iran or protect themselves? Either way, and maybe it just is what it is. We're going to end up going to World War III. Maybe that's it. It just is what it is.
But with the regime still looking the way it is and the Ayatollah who it is, what do you make of how do you assess the situation?
Well, a few things. I just watched the president's news conference there and took a couple notes. Yeah. 51 ships, very significant. Drones, missiles. I'm sure we're learning a ton about drones. We're testing out some new countermeasures against them that are going to go in our playbooks for future planning and future wars. Yeah. He said something very interesting about not striking Iranians' energy grid. He specifically said electricity. And that tells me that this is not like us going to war with Germany or Japan in World War II. This is specifically against those regime elements. Yes. And
okay, I guess these comments are, let's talk about Japan and Germany. Interesting. Okay, what's the connection with this? Also, you got to remember, just because you're a Navy SEAL or Army Ranger, I'm going to compare, I'll do it, but it's sort of like saying, not to the level of professional athletes. We'll do a video on it. But it's like saying just because you're a professional athlete, you can throw the ball or you can shoot, move, and communicate. What does that mean? You understand strategy and leadership and policy, meaning it's probably better to get an officer out of the Naval Academy. Not like I have a big high opinion of military officers. I think they're shitbags, but we have these guys. At the end of the day, these Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, at least at the enlisted level, they do a very unique skill at a high level, which is a lot of times shoot and kill people. But then all of a sudden we're talking to them about strategy and stuff like that. That's more the officer corps, but the officer corps is paid, bought and sold and paid for. But anyway, let's keep going.
and not the people. I thought that was significant. But it was a big news day today, of course. Now we have this new Supreme Leader who's stepped up, or everyone else stepped back. And I only say that kind of tongue in cheek because we've gotten so good at manhunting. That was one of the main things that we took away from the wars in Iraq and
Yeah, okay. We lost those wars. We didn't win, but keep going.
Afghanistan and a couple other hot spots around the world. Is our special operations forces in particular got very good at manhunting. So if the president does not want the new Supreme Leader around much longer, he probably will not be. And then you mentioned something earlier about vengeance, you said, and when it comes to
this is where it goes out again. We look at a Navy SEAL, we're like, wow, he's a Navy SEAL, he's an expert. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Terrorism. Yeah. And this isn't specific, of course, to Iran, but I think when you mentioned that earlier, I thought about Libya, and I thought about our 2 service members who were killed in Berlin in 1986. We then bombed Libya.
Watch this. It's pretty funny because we're going to do 2 news things. Both of them are Navy SEALs. The next one's by Megyn Kelly. She does the same thing. The news reporter is sort of looking at him like, where are you going? Like this, like, what are you talking? Megyn Kelly does the same thing in the next interview with this other Navy SEAL.
Also in 1986, and then 2 years later, we have Pangan 103 and 270 people killed.
You can see the newscaster is like, well, what are you talking about? What does this relate to the war here?
In that, now taking it back to Iran, when we talk about memories and we talk about vengeance and we talk about terrorism, Salman Rushdie, of course, was the author who wrote the Satanic Verses back in 1988. The then Supreme Leader issued a fatwa against him, and then almost 30 years later, in August of 2022.
Do you see where this fucking guy's talking? Get ready for the next video. The next video is even funnier.
He's stabbed, attacked in New York, not in New York City, right. Outside of that, and he's stabbed in the face.
You could see the newscaster is like, listen, we got to get back on subject here.
Face, in the neck, in the abdomen, and that was 30 years later. So they have some long memories over there.
Yeah, they do. And just to wrap it here, because I don't have a lot of time left, but as far as this moment, what do you think needs to happen between now and when they do say we're done in here? Because I feel like right now, if they walk away, it's going to feel like it's not going to be a loss, but it's going to be an unfinished job.
Again, this is where you go with the officers, the interview here. Not like what exactly. I mean, you're the audience. What exactly is the objective in Iran? Remember. Let me just show you on what horseshit. When I left the FBI, I went to the Harvard Kennedy School. The Harvard Kennedy School is an absolute cauldron. It's a shit show. And that's where Pete Hegseth is correct by not having military officers go there anymore. It was a shit show. But anyway, it's flooded with intelligence, domestic intelligence, foreign intelligence officers, CIA, FBI, military generals, admirals, special operations. Because I was at the Kennedy School. 50% was international. And the amount of pompous American people that their paychecks were on your tax dime, a general, you had SEALs, you had Rangers, FBI, CIA, all this stuff. And at the time, remember when I went to Harvard, it was 2007. So it was the war on terror. And I would have these talks with these people about Afghanistan and Iraq. And I always start with the first simple question that any cadet should learn at West Point when you learn what is the mission. What is the mission? You have to get that, and it has to be repeated, because even the mission can start changing. And I asked these people, and of course, they were all confident because the American taxpayer money was just flooded to their coffers. So their careers ride on this. They need a threat, they need a mission, and if they can't articulate the mission because they know it's bullshit, then they're going to make up missions. And guess who was right? I don't know. I think I was right. I don't know what the hell we accomplished. I still don't know. What did we lost Iraq and Afghanistan. You want to do round 2? So what is the mission in Iran? Some people could say we are going to neutralize all their capabilities to form a nuclear weapon. Okay, what are the intricacies of that? I'm not a nuclear weapon expert. I'd like to know. Well, we have to destroy their reactor. We have to destroy their supply. We have to, I guess we kill their scientists. Okay, once that's done, if it's done, it's probably going to be refurbished within 5 to 10 years. So is it just going to be whack-a-mole every 10 years? Maybe that's a thing, but we have to say, what exactly is the mission first? Is it to destroy all capabilities of having a nuclear weapon? Number one. Okay. How exactly are we going to do that? And how long are we going to do that? And of course, I guess it's a curious question is why are we focused on Iran than a place like North Korea? I mean, North Korea sounds like an evil empire with nuclear weapons, or unless it's secret. I mean, are we going to go there next? Or no, we're doing Iran because we have to protect Israel. These are going to be questions. I think it's going to go to shit. Without a doubt. Give it time, it's going to go bad.
Sure, we've done that over and over again in multiple countries across the Middle East over my lifetime even. But that air campaign will continue. Selective use of special operations, most likely Israel and the United States, whether that's going into nuke sites to destroy them from the inside, securing gas and oil platforms or oil refineries, continued destruction of the Navy, and then also operations that are designed to deny Iran the ability to mine the Strait of Hormuz. I haven't heard too many people talking about that, but I'm sure that is something that is at the forefront of our military planners' minds, and putting special operations forces against those capabilities are probably top of list also. And then
is there any
Hezbollah in Lebanon?
Yeah, 10 seconds. Is there any way to get this regime out of there? Is there any way to end this with a different regime in place?
I don't know. We're going to keep doing this. Let's just do this quick video here. This is interesting about the other Navy SEAL here, quick
interview to give a clear explanation about the circumstances surrounding a 2015.
We're just going to do this quick. Remember that Marine who got his arm broken and the senators called Tim Shealy? I didn't know this. This guy's another Navy SEAL, Naval Academy veteran. But this is just an integrity issue on him. Supposedly, we're going to do it quick, but we're going to show when Megyn Kelly interviews him and she's trying to give him credit. And I think he just lied. It's just come out. And the point was he was at a park. This happened like a year ago and it was affecting his campaign, where it believed that he shot himself, which is interesting. This also similar story happened to another Navy SEAL that lied to the police that it was really a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I guess he was just worried about being a dumbass shooting himself. It happens. And so he lies about it. It's just very weird. But anyway, this is the same thing. But this is the guy who broke the Marine's arm. And I was like, man, what an absolute shitbag these guys are.
Incident in a national park that already in his. She's the host of Montana.
Himself is he accidentally.
That's all it's been since the beginning. Insurgency's mess.
Okay, this is just quick. We're just doing this for again. But this is the guy, the senator on your taxpayer dime. But it's just such a retarded story that he should just come out clean.
It's comfortable surroundings to tell his story and try and deflect.
They are alleging that you lied about being shot. So what's the truth?
Yeah, well, I mean, their entire campaign again.
So again, supposedly this guy graduated the Naval Academy. I actually was thinking about going to the Naval Academy, but I just prefer West Point for many reasons. But the Naval Academy and West Point share a lot of culture. I don't know what I was a cadet, he would have been called a midshipman. I don't know what the midshipmen are learning these days, but if he was asked a question at the Naval Academy, you know what's called quibble. We say quibble. I mean, say the fucking answer and say it. I think the guy shot himself in the arm. Who cares? I give Donald Trump some credit, even though I think Donald Trump probably couldn't quibble. Remember that grabber in the pussy? I mean, it was so obvious. But I think he did it right. He's like, yeah, that's what I said. It's locker room talk. It is what it is. I could care less. I'm fine. So again, if you shot yourself in the arm, then you shot yourself in the arm. It is what it is. Don't be a little faggot and quibble. It's so pathetic.
Against me has been based on character assassination. I mean, that's all it's been since the beginning. Insurgency's messy. And, you know, one of the most challenging parts we had as SEAL teams over my several deployments was we would have Afghan forces embedded.
So even the commentator, both Megyn Kelly and say, why are you changing the story? Now he goes on, Afghanistan and this, like, answer the fucking question. It's so pathetic.
With us. And that means you're fighting not always alongside just a bunch of highly trained Navy SEALs. Much of the time, you are outnumbered by your own friendly partner force, sometimes 10 to 1, sometimes 20 to 1. You'll have hundreds of Afghans that you're responsible for training and then putting into combat. And we call those green on blue incidents, which actually were very, very common, where you'd have Afghans who either intentionally or unintentionally would end up shooting friendly forces.
No, okay. Well, what are you talking about? Were you shot? What? Were you shot in the arm or not? at the national park. What are you talking about?
You know, sometimes they just put their weapons on full auto and start, you know, shooting whatever direction they felt like. So unless those injuries are life-threatening, of course, you know, if you've lost a limb like some of our teammates had, or there's a severe injury, you're going to.
Remember, the part of the reason I'm doing it, he's not just a Navy SEAL. He's a U.S. Senator. He's on your taxpayer dime. He wants to take us with Iran. He's also a shitbag who broke the Marine's arm. So this is not a private individual. This is a U.S. Senator.
You're going to deal with that because that person has to be cared for. But otherwise, you just keep on moving. So it's unfortunate they decided to make this a focal point because it's a distraction. But that's what their entire campaign is about. It's about distractions because they can't focus on the issues that John Tester's a loyal Chuck Schumer vote every single time.
It's ironic to use the word distraction because the question.
So look at this guy. Look at this black guy. Do you think me and this black guy would share things? We might. I'm sure this black guy, I don't know who this black guy is. I just saw this video. But the point being is think about it. This black guy, I'm going to assume, probably does not align to my political version, especially me being an ethno-nationalist. But the truth rises to the top. I still agree with this guy. He's on it. Whether me and him disagree politically, especially on ethno-nationalism, this guy's still right. This guy, Tim Sheeny or whatever, what an absolute shitbag.
Question that Megyn Kelly asked him was, what's the truth on this whole shooting? Because they're saying that you shot your ass in the park illegally and you're trying to avoid accountability for that. Instead, he launches in this whole story.
So the point is, this is the same thing. Even these people are starting to realize that this story is an absolute bullshit.
About how, you know, they have certain folks when they're in war zones that they were training, and sometimes they go wild and shoot people, which is probably true. But then once you get to shooting folks, is that what happened to you, though? Is that what's happened to you? That's the question that needs to be asked.
So just to be clear.
Again, this guy is a Naval Academy grad. I mean, geez, I've always said that I look at, and trust me, I'm not saying West Point's that much better. They're all going to shit. This guy is a Naval Academy grad, Navy SEAL, and a U.S. Senator who broke the Marine's arm. What a shitbag. Answer the fucking question. Like, what? Did you really graduate in Annapolis? No, he probably did. Trust me. Annapolis and West Point have just both gone to shit.
Did you shoot yourself in the arm?
No, that was never the allegation. The point is, you know, it was a friendly fire ricochet downrange that wasn't reported at the time.
It gets worse. It's like, this cannot be happening. Like, I saw this. I said, no, this has got to be a joke. This is round 2. Megyn Kelly is going to give him round 3 here.
Time. And after having
but they're saying, just so I'm clear, that they're saying, and I don't want to harp on this, I just want to give you the chance to explain yourself, because this is their closing message. It's all about this incident. So if voters are confused, you're going to explain it to them. They're saying that you were in a park, Glacier Park, that you dropped your weapon, that it went off inadvertently and it shot you in the arm, and that there's a park ranger saying she spoke to you about that. It looks like you spoke to the Washington Post and you said that you lied when you told the park ranger about this. So which is it?
It's pathetic. The weird thing is, I don't remember the name. This was years ago. This same thing happened to another Navy SEAL who shot himself. The police came and he lied or something. I just tell the truth. I mean, if you shot yourself, and I could do stories about people shooting, I don't know whether he thought it was embarrassing. I don't know if it's illegal. I guess maybe whatever. I shot myself. It is what it is. But this is round 2 for Megyn Kelly. And I'm telling you, these are the shitbags that want you to believe their bullshit when they say, let's go to war with Iran. Meaning, these are our leaders. If this was a private individual, you know, a Naval Academy, Navy SEAL, it's still bad. Whatever. He's a private. I don't have time. This is a U.S. Senator, people. These are the people taking your kids and our taxpayer money.
Did you shoot yourself in the arm inadvertently in Glacier Park?
No.
Look at this. This is round 2, people. This is even Megyn Kelly's starting to realize. Just give me a fucking answer.
We've discussed this at length repeatedly with every media outlet for the last year. It's been beat to death. The point was, at the time, I was injured and went to the hospital. They required a police report because any gunshot wound requires a police report of any kind. And they said, we have to file this. We have to report this to law enforcement. And still having active team members, you know, in the service who were involved in it at that time, I simply said, well, this is an old wound.
I don't know what Naval Academy he went to. At West Point, I'm already lost. I've already told the guy, get on the fucking ground, start doing push-ups. Get on the ground, start doing push-ups. Jesus Christ. What type of horseshit story is this?
I said, no, we have to report this as a gunshot wound, to law enforcement. So, yeah, I said, well, okay, fine. It was an accident. Even the Sportsman's Group, Sports Shooting Foundations have even said it's literally impossible to have that happen. It wouldn't work.
But
And a weapon of that
in the
size that
park?
had happened.
Did you have a wound,
No.
Tim, in the park?
No. Yes, I fell and injured my arm when we were hiking. So that's why I went, because.
Okay, so he fell and injured his arm, but is it a gunshot wound? I don't know. Wait till round 3.
I could feel the bullet get dislodged when I fell on the arm. You could feel the bullet get dislodged.
None of this makes any sense. Listen, none of this makes.
Again, the truth is coming out when a white nationalist like me and a black guy who he might be, but we're probably not aligned politically. But we still both agree with this story. This U.S. Senator is just an absolute shitbag, and he's embarrassing the Naval Academy.
Makes any sense. Again, this is from a couple years ago, right before he was elected to the Senate. She asked him again because she's like, wait, I'm trying to help you out here, Tim, but you're a fucking idiot. Wait, did you shoot yourself in the arm at Glacier Park? He went back to talking about Afghanistan, but then how he went to the hospital after he fell on his arm and it dislodged the bullet. So therefore, hospital, nurses and doctors, potentially personnel, came in and said, wait a second, that's a gunshot wound. But somehow those doctors or nurses didn't know the difference between an old gunshot wound where a bullet is lodged and it's been dislodged versus a fresh gunshot wound.
We could go on. I think it's so ridiculous. I guess, Tim, so I see sparring Timo, the build just fell out. I don't know. Considering the time, remember, I was ranked number 2 leadership at West Point. I mean, remember too, and I had an advantage. Again, people think this is not a made-up story. I'm the 12th person in history to go to West Point already as an officer, meaning I did an Army ROTC. So I'm comparing the Naval Academy with West Point because there is a lot of overlap. I don't know what fucking academy he went to, but if that was just that wasn't even, I just can't listen to that bullshit anymore because we got some videos to talk about Iran. But did you not see this fight? It's like, what did did you really graduate the Naval Academy? I mean, you would be a soup sandwich. And don't fool yourself too. This is a weird FBI story. I won't go into it. But anyway, a former director of the FBI, his son was my classmate at West Point. He ended up lying and getting kicked out of West Point. My point is the honor code is strict. Don't fuck around. And that's why, so there's 2 reasons why they want you to answer straight. One, it's part of military leadership. It's part of, we don't have time. You're at war, you're managing troops. I don't have time for a 30-second answer, whether I'm talking to an officer or I'm talking about enlisted. It's part of military communication, straight to the point. The other, though, is you don't want to, I'm telling you, at least the West Point that I went, trust me, I think it's gone to shit. Don't worry about it. I'm not impressed with West Point anymore. But if you get caught lying at West Point, at least they will kick you out. So you don't want to, and that's what I'm saying, you want to leave the least amount of data. You don't want to say, yes, I was with my friend in the library last night. And then if, no, it wasn't the library. I was at the gym. You don't think I was with my friend last night. Unless they want to know, where were you? Library. But you because the point is you don't want to get kicked out for lying. So you only want to answer the question with the least amount of data to answer the question. And you don't want to put in other data because you might inadvertently, because you don't know, they might think you're intentionally lying and you get kicked out. So the question is did you shoot yourself? I don't know. I mean, I guess I would start off say, listen, you're cadet, this is me, upperclassman cadet Baumblatt. You are giving me a fucking migraine here. Shut your fucking mouth. Did the gun go off? Yes or no? Was it discharged? I don't care if it was your finger. I don't care if the fucking bear did it. I don't care if the tree twig clicked the rifle. Did that weapon discharge? Yes or no? Okay. Where did that bullet go? It might probably, I don't know. It went in the air. Okay. No, it hit me in the arm. Okay. But it's going on and on. It's like, and maybe civilians look at that and think, okay, I guess that's the way that's not the way we communicate. But anyway, I just want to bring that up because that was the second Navy SEAL bullshit hours. I've got my stories with these Navy SEAls, And again, that was the guy who broke the Marine Corps arm. And I get it, the Marine Corps guy, just like similar to the black guy, I think me and the black guy on there probably aren't aligned. Just like the Marine that got his arm broken, he's married to a Palestinian wife. I guess he's big with Islam and free Palestine. I'm not really into Palestine, whatever. Palestine, Israel, they can do what they want. I'm not really interested in marrying a Palestinian woman. I'd like a nice white woman, but that doesn't mean we cannot agree. How that U.S. Marine was treated in there was wrong, people. Fucking wrong. You don't do that. And this shitbag Navy SEAL who wants to be the big hero and tackle him or grab him, which ended up breaking his arm. I hope he gets sued. What a dumb fuck. Let's do a couple more videos here, and then we'll go. But let me think. Look at this one. This doesn't make any sense. Was this part of the Trump campaign?
Harris, send our sons and daughters, our young people, to fight in stupid wars. It is the young generation that carries the burden of that. We're going to stop sending our young people to faraway lands. We are not the policemen of the world. We need to use our young people here at home. But if you're worried about the world spinning out of control, if you're worried about a military draft, if you're worried about, God forbid, a world war, the best way to prevent it is to vote for Donald Trump.
So something is very strange with JD Vance from leadership. One is be very careful where people really do a 180 pivot. You could change, like for me, I've changed my mind. I grew up in America, like I guess I was brainwashed, yeah, the white guy's racist, and China has really taken me. But if you look at JD Vance, how he talked about Donald Trump, if you looked about what he talked about Donald Trump before, like he's a con man, now he's the vice president. That's not me. I said very good things about Donald Trump, but I've always said the best is yet to come. He's the most nationalist president I've ever seen, but he's not a nationalist. But the point being is my view hasn't changed much, but we are seeing what's happening, that Trump is just, he's starting to be more and more of the corporate man. But I still can't think of a better person. I'm not going Democrats. But this JD Vance, also JD Vance is a big Christian, but he marries a Hindu woman. And this whole thing about JD Vance being the West Virginia hillbilly, well, his mixed kids, those kids look Indian to me, so that legacy's gone. But meaning, when you see a man who he chooses to be his primary woman, that's what he thinks important. So it looks like JD Vance thinks India is important. Yeah, go move to India, JD Vance. Have a fun time there. Let's go one of the last videos here.
Then $800 million.
Okay, so here we're going to go Donald Trump. This is where I disagree. Donald Trump deserves credit, and I've said this before. He's not taking his presidential salary. He deserves credit for that. I guess he's going to donate his salary, whatever, to a charity. He deserves credit for that. And, there should be. But you don't think him and his slimy family are just cashing in on the White House, to include his wife, who I consider to be a prostitute in many ways? I'm not focusing on her. I think a lot of women in the West, this modeling, this sex stuff, it's prostitution. It is what it is. But his wife selling her shit coin, her crypto shit coin, and then she markets her shit movie. This Trump family is cashing in on the White House, and they never served in the military, to include being a draft dodger. So here we go to his kids, and his kids are making some money. So it makes you wonder, who makes money out of these wars? Well, who's ever part of the military-industrial complex. Looks like his kids are.
From sales of crypto assets. This on top of potentially billions more in unrealized on-paper gains. Now, much of this cash has been coming in from foreign sources, which doesn't come as a surprise when we factor in Trump's two eldest sons basically trotting around the world pitching their family's crypto business, World Liberty Financial, to investors. Joining us now, Michelle Conlon. She is one of the reporters at Reuters.
We're going to skip, but the point is, what I wanted them to do is the kids, the sons, they've also invested in drone military technology. So we all know it, that the U.S. military, we're going to end up using more and more drones, and there is so much insider trading, I am sure, that's happening in the Trump family, which is part of the reason why Trump didn't want his kids to be fully part of the U.S. government. So Donald Trump's the president. His kids are still running the private industry of Trump. So he feels like there's some legal impartiality. I would disagree with that by far. But anyway, his kids are going to get inside information like we know. I think even it was reported that Barron Trump made $30 million in oil purchases. We're talking with relations with Iran. So these kids, but I don't know if it talks about, it might have been another article where his kids have invested in a drone program that's obviously making record profits now with this war.
Reuters, who uncovered
track, 72% of those are foreign wallets. So those are wallets belonging to foreigners. Wallet being the term of art.
So this is about crypto. We know this already about crypto. Let's see if it goes in the drone. I thought I'd talk to the drones.
Company itself. What has the company itself delivered in exchange?
Oh, that's a great question. Right. So you've got the meme coin, which has no utility. It's just like kind of owning a baseball card, hoping it goes up in value.
Right.
And then you have the Trump cryptocurrency company, the exchange, World Liberty.
The Trump Hotel is just like a quaint.
We forgot about that. You remember when foreign embassies were staying in?
All right, there's another video. I thought I had it, but it was another video. It was about the Trump. We all know about the Trump, the crypto stuff. But I thought we're going to do one last video.
Over my dead body.
We're going to do one last video here, and this is about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I want to make it very clear. I agree with a lot what she says, but I don't know her political ambitions, whether she's going to run. But I keep saying, if you think this, I don't know, this cycle is going to be repeated, like we're going to get another person, they're going to fix it. The only political option is someone who goes on there, says, we are not interested in unifying 350 million Americans that are built on diversity as our strength. It's over. The only political option that I would put my vote behind is a politician that says it's time to start thinking about secession. That's it. So I don't know if she's going in that direction, but what she's saying is it's right, meaning it's falling apart. America's falling apart. Trump is not delivering. But what's the solution? My solution, unless you want to leave America, is it's going to have to be some type of state politics where we talk about splitting. It's going to be a split. But if another politician says, no, Trump isn't uniting America, I'll unite America. It's not going to happen, people. It's not going to happen. Or, you go back, ping pong back to the Democrats. But let's hear what she says, because she makes some basic points.
I posted those words, not my son, over my dead body. I posted those words on Sunday, and I have never meant anything more in my entire life. Because on national television, on Fox News, Maria Bartiromo asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt a simple question. Mothers across this country want to know, is there going to be a military draft? Is my child...
It's so funny, though. I see these MAGA people. I look at them a lot like scumbags, and here's why. I don't mess with the liberals. In fact, I don't have a problem. If you're like, listen, whatever your profile is, I hate military, I hate law enforcement, I hate white men. It's part of leadership. Hey, at least they're saying it. I don't bother those people. The only people I ask for help are the MAGA people. I support police, I support military, I support Christianity, I support MAGA. That's me. And these people are some of the most fake fucking people. And if you think I'm wrong, wait till all these MAGA people with the flag, when Donald Trump, because trust me, Donald Trump kids are not going to go into the military. You really think Barron Trump is going to go into the military and risk his life on the front lines? It's in his genes. I mean, Donald Trump didn't do it in Vietnam. So anyway, I would find it hilarious if the draft was imposed and you see the faces on these MAGA people. They wave the American flag, say, I'm a patriot, man. Trump this and Trump that. And they say, okay, there's a military draft. You got to go. And you're going, oh, man, my back hurts. I can't do this and I can't do that. The same thing you see with the liberals. Remember you talk about the liberals and you're like, do you believe in illegal immigrants? Absolutely. Do you think America? Absolutely. America should support illegal immigration. Okay. Do you mind if you could personally house an illegal immigrant? What do they say? Oh, sorry, man. I'm busy, man. I can't do it. It's bullshit. We know. They're talking out their asshole. There's also that in MAGA. They're like, man, I'm a patriot, man. What makes you a patriot? I fly the American flag, man, and I say I love Trump like a cult. Okay. Well, there's a military draft now. We need you to sign up and serve and die for America. Oh, man, I'm busy, man. I'm too busy thanking military veterans for their service. Yeah, you'll see it. We all know that. There's a lot of bullshit going on with MAGA.
Going to be sent to fight in Iran, And Caroline Leavitt looked into that camera and said the president wisely does not remove options off the table. That was the moment. That was the answer that told 77 million voters everything they need to know about what this administration actually thinks of the promises it made, because the answer should have been no. One word, no. No draft, no boots on the ground, no sending American children to fight a war that the American people never asked for, never voted for, and were specifically promised would never happen. Instead, we got options on the table. I want every parent watching this to hear those words and understand what they mean. Your son is an option. Your daughter is an option. They are on the table. And I want you to remember something. During the 2024 campaign, J.D. Vance stood in front of the American people and said, if you are worried about a military draft, if you are worried about a...
All right, we'll end it there. And like I said, I think she's doing a good job. She's calling things out. I think she said, though, about the political solution is going to find a new person who's going to represent America. Leadership 101, I don't know who America is anymore. I don't know who Americans are anymore. We have 350 million Americans. I don't know who an American is anymore. Even MAGA will split. So the part about is we are going to get a new person after, I guess, J.D. Vance is going to carry on the torch with his Indian wife. Sooner or later, this union is going to split. What do I think about Iran? Very similar to what I think about Afghanistan, Iraq. Don't really care much about it. And probably the best way to keep America safe from terrorism is immigration. Seal the borders. I'm very pro with that, law enforcement, border security, illegal immigrants, or just not even allowing legal immigration. That's a good form to protect ourselves. But I'm telling you, as an American citizen, America keeps bombing these other countries. You better watch out. You leave America one day and you go on travel. I don't tell anyone I'm an American. It's going to try, and you're going to say, as an American, I might be an American citizen, but I didn't support these wars. I'm not like the government. Bullshit. What do I keep saying about China? What is my view? And I've said this many times. I've said this so many times. What do I think of the difference between the Chinese government and the Chinese people? Not much. Always said that. I say they're about 80 to 90% the same. And if you're an American citizen, no one's going to give a shit about your excuse when you're overseas. I didn't vote for Trump, or I'm MAGA, but I don't think they don't give a shit. And I don't blame them. They say, you're a fucking American citizen and your government has just bombed and killed my family. I'm taking you hostage. And if I don't get money, your head is going to get chopped off. Welcome to America. But I say again, what does this war in Iran have to do that's going to bring back Christianity in America, that's going to bring back European family in America, and that's going to bring back the First Amendment, the freedom of speech? I don't see it. Don't see anything that's going to happen. You think I'm wrong? Let's see where this thing goes. But until then, you're paying your taxpayer money. But anyway, a lot of bullshit going on here. We'll just do a couple of comments. I see Spartan Sodakar. I see Iran kept their word. Again, I'm not defending Iran, nor am I saying negative. It's the same thing I look at Saddam Hussein. It's their country, people. It is what it is. Once you show me the nexus with America, these wars are not being fought for the American middle class person. They're being fought for our corporations, our supply chains, for Israel, for our overseas. It's the same reason when I work for Boeing, when they close a factory in America and they open up a factory in China and they say, this is going to be great. We're going to make so much money. Sure, the globalist elites are, not the everyday American. So these wars overseas, yes, the globalist elites in America are going to make a lot of money. Their interests are going to be satisfied with these wars, not the middle American. Not going to help you. Not going to help you at all. So yeah, so my view on Iran, it's not negative, it's not positive, but not really. And you dumb Europeans, when this war comes, guess where all these refugees are going to go? These Iranian refugees are going to probably flood Europe, and then they're going to want to put Islam on you dumb fucks. It is what I mean. Think about it. If you, I would really, if you are one of my viewers, it's not like I have that many, but if you are of Danish citizenship, I would really appreciate if you could comment. I'm so curious what the Danes think about this war, because after Trump threatened you, insulted you, remember that movie, what is it, Sparta? Remember, he's like, you come to my city and my walls and you threaten my king, threaten my princess or queen. this is Sparta, and he kicks that fucking dude, that Persian guy, into the pit. That's how the fucking Danes would be. That's how Americans would be if Canada started saying that shit to Alaska. Danes would say, listen, Trump, you come to our country, you send your fucking spies and government into our Greenland and start putting threats on that, get the fuck out. But I bet you the cuck Danish would say, yeah, I guess we need to die for America. I guess we need to support them in Iran. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So anyway, let's go down. So I did that. I think Golden Tulip, what do I see here? Golden Tulip, yes, it's insane. Did not know the Ruben. Yeah, I think Ruben, I think he's a homo. I'll do stories on my takes on homos, but I guess what I'm trying to say is even I didn't realize it in America. I didn't realize the amount of influence that Israel has over America until I lived in China, because I just see it through another lens. I don't remember. I guess you would say I was the blissful idiot. I just didn't know. But then again, I was also with racism. I was also like, yeah, man, we white guys, we got to work on our racism in America. America's racist. That China changed me. I mean, these Chinese, some of the most racist people I've ever seen in my life. So, but it is true, especially when I talk with the Chinese, and they tell me, they're like, oh, yeah. They're like, your country's occupied by Israel. And I said, you can see it? They said, absolutely. They're like, why are you in this war with Iran? And I'm like, good point. Except for the military-industrial complex, they need to make money. Corporations don't want to do overseas, or Israel. The regular American, who, by the way, your tax money's going up, who's paying for all this stuff? No one wants to talk about the tax money that's spent on this stuff. And Trump wants to continually increase the budget for the military. Where's that money going? If you're middle class and you're having trouble paying bills, it's going to get much harder. So that's pretty interesting. I see Jew rubbing and a gay partner adopted. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. There's definitely a Jewish thing going on. Remember these two gay guys that pimped out their boys? That's something else. I'll tell you about China too. Living in China, I was living in China, mainland China, for about 12 years, and I took a trip to Hong Kong. I don't know if anyone knows, but Hong Kong is like a Singapore. It's like a Dubai. And I still remember this. It was just because I was living in China so long, I was becoming normalized to the environment. And then I went to Hong Kong and I saw two Asian men holding hands in public, because Hong Kong's a little bit different political stuff. And I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. I said, I guess they're gay. Because I was like, they were holding hands in public. You don't see that in mainland China. Yeah, gay, feminism, that's the same thing in Russia, ain't happening. Hong Kong's a little bit more liberal, but yeah, you have to ask these. So what I'm saying is these woke agenda, well, that's not coming from China. It's not coming from Russia. You really think it's coming from Iran? The one thing I really do like about Islam, again, I've always said we should be a Christian first country. The one thing I like about Islam, they really figured out how to deal with feminism. You don't see much of these feminist problems in Islam, which I always wonder, these dumb feminists who like these Islamic refugees to come into Europe and America. You scratch your head, you're like, don't these feminists know that these guys are Muslims? And these Muslims, because white men are too cucks to do it, maybe we're going to have to let the Islamic men to put these white feminist women in our place. Because like I said, I see these white men, they're like, I'll stand up to our government. I'll stand up to evil. Dude, you can't even stand up to a white woman. I mean, you literally, you cannot even stand up to a white woman. You're not standing up to the government. You're not doing anything like that. But anyway, a lot of these non-Western societies, no. So you have to ask, where do we get this from? So, this woke, homosexuality, feminism, this racial sort of thing, that's not from the non-Western world, 100%, not at all. You have to ask, where are we getting that from? That's pretty interesting. All right, I see the children stuff. I see that Jew. We're talking about the Jew guys, Jews and kids. Got it. Iran. I think we went through it. Yeah, like I said, overall, I really don't have a problem with Iran, but they let them do their thing and we'll do ours. But I think this war is not gonna do anything. Final comment: feminist females deep down want to be put in it. Yeah, that's the one thing I found. As I have yet to find a woman. I should do topics on this, but yeah, as much as the bullshit, and I learned this at Harvard, women, feminists, they don't even want equality. They don't. 9 times out of 10, what do women want? Even the feminists, they want a man that makes more money, that's taller, that's more powerful, that's this. They don't want equality. They don't want to find an equal man. They look at finding an equal man as a losing bargain, as a losing deal. They want to find a man that's above them. They feel like that. What do you call that? Hypergamy. That's how they look at it. So this whole deal of women want equality, they don't want equality. Ask a woman that is having a problem finding a husband. Her whole thing is her standards are above herself. She does not want to find a man that's equal to her. She wants to find a man that's above her. So that whole thing. But again, if there's one culture that really has learned how to properly handle feminism, I'd say Islam. Perhaps there's some things we could learn from the Islamic world on how to have more kids and put women back in their natural place that they want to be, which is motherhood. That's what women want to do anyway. I want to be happy. Okay, David Baumblatt, Terrapin Leadership. I talked enough. I appreciate everyone's support. Telling the Patriots, lead to victory.